My name is Jalil Anibaba. I'm originally from Davis, California. Currently play for Nashville SC, and this is my 10th year in MLS.
Awesome, awesome. So now the interview, it's three sections. We got your soccer career, a little bit about young voting, and then last one would be racism and injustice. By the way.
Awesome.
So we're gonna start off with soccer career. So who inspired you to carry on with your soccer career and eventually make a living out of it? It could be like a coach, a player, a teammate, even.
Yeah, for me, my inspiration came from within my household growing up. So my two biggest sources of inspiration to play soccer and to carry out what is a family dream of ours was my father and then my older brother, Jalil.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. So you've obviously played on many teams in the MLS. Which one would you say is your favorite and why?
I mean, it's hard for me to pick a favorite club and a favorite team because each experience for me has really helped me grow as a person on and off the field. So I'm grateful for all of the six clubs that I've played for. Nashville being the sixth one that I'm currently on. I could give you obviously positives and negatives from all of those experiences, but like I said, I'm grateful for all of the places that I've been able to play. Fortunately for me, all of the cities that I've lived in have been desirable places to live. I think when guys are either considering moving around or kind of get calls that they're being traded to certain places around the country, a lot of the times guys are hoping that they're going to be living in a place that's desirable to them and their families, and I've been able to have that be something part of my experience at each club that I've played for. So I'm happy and blessed that I'm still playing and enjoying it and very much flourishing on and off the field.
Yeah, that's great. So I know this is kind of a tough question, but if you could go back in time and change anything about your career, what would it be and why? It could be nothing.
Yeah, it is a good question. I think for myself, like I said, I've had very fortunate experiences at each club that I've been at. Of course, there are ups and downs and highs and lows and all periods of life. But for me, I've very much had enjoyable times at every club that I've been at. I know played with a lot of players over the course of my career so far, and that's not something that everyone can say. For me, each time that it was time for me to leave a club, it's never been a conscious decision really on my part of like, okay, I don't want to be here anymore, and I had to force my way out. So that's left me in a position where I've never regretted leaving a club, and I've never regretted joining one either. So for me, for someone who's moved around, in the ways in which that I have, a lot of times that comes with like a lot of negative experiences and like, oh, it just didn't work out, or a player burned bridges where they were. But fortunately for me, that hasn't been the case, and I've been able to experience different ways that clubs do things, different ways that coaching staffs and organizations find success, and obviously ways in which certain organizations struggle as well. So I think I've gotten to really understand the league in a much more in-depth way than I probably would have had I stayed.
Now we're going to move on to the young voting section. So how important do you think it is for young
see any age that is too young.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's not necessary, contrary to what people may believe, it's not really something you just like flip the switch and then you get it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to learn how things work. And even, you know, at my age, you know, I don't know everything. My parents, they don't know everything either. Even our teachers, they don't know everything when it comes
Mm-hmm.
down to the political world or realm, you know, because things are constantly evolving, things are constantly changing. But I think, you know, I'm grateful for the fact that, you know, growing up, we would do mock elections when we were obviously way too young to vote, or, you know, we started to familiarize ourselves with the process of, you know, casting your vote, and the importance of um, just voting itself, the history of those who had to fight for their right to vote. And for me, as a black man in this country, it's extremely vital, for me to exercise my right to vote, because those who came before me literally gave their lives for, you know, our generation
Yep.
of, you know, African Americans to be able to vote. You know, the same can be said for women as well. They have a history of, you know, fighting tooth and nail to have their right to vote. So
Mm-hmm.
I think those are things that the younger generation, I don't think should take lightly. But yeah, to answer your question directly, I don't see an age that's too young
Mm-hmm.
to begin to familiarize yourself with our democratic process.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's a really important topic. Yeah. So now we're gonna move on to the racism and injustice section, which, you know, is a big part of what's happening in the U.S. right now. So why do you think the younger people, or just people in general, should care about racism and injustice in the U.S. or just in general?
Yeah, I think the reason to care is because it affects everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It, People may think that it doesn't, but it affects everyone, because it becomes, well, it has become how our country operates. You know, and I think it is very clear, though, that the younger the generations, the less prejudiced the generation is, the more educated the generation is, and that goes for my generation compared to our parents' generation, and our parents' generation compared to our grandparents' generation, and, you know, my generation or your generation compared to mine. So, you know, the more that we continue to progress through the education and the you know, heightened levels of empathy through the younger generation, is how we see progress. You know, young minds have the ability to be more open and more you know, accepting than maybe, you know, generations that are more set in their ways. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's definitely important for the younger generations to empathize as much as possible, and to move our society in a toward a trend that is solely looking toward progress, because,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah, really important stuff. Yeah. So I know you're part of you're part of the organization of Black Players for Change in the MLS.
Yeah.
So can you explain like a little bit about what Black Players for Change does or is doing right now for the MLS and like overall in the US?
Yeah. So Black Players for Change was started essentially directly after George Floyd passed away. And there were a group of us within the league who decided that we wanted to do a little bit more than we were doing before. And we started in a way that was very organic. We simply just kind of started having conversations about what we can do, what we wanted to do, what we should do, and like the areas of our societies that we wanted to affect. So we of course, wanted to affect change within the league, and then we took it upon ourselves to do what we can to affect change outside the league as well. And yeah, the the fact that we formed an organization was simply through way of understanding that that was the best way that we could do what we wanted to do, essentially. And so far there has been um, a lot of things that we've done that we've been able to see that are helping. I think this is obviously an issue when you're talking about social justice, that everyone simply has to, answer the call and play their part. It isn't something that we'll be able to change completely by ourselves or anything like that. But we just felt that if we do our part, then we're able to step up and chip in and kind of do what we need to do to lead our MLS community in the right direction.
That's perfect. Thank you for starting that organization. I know it's grown pretty big, but yeah, it's so important to have that. So yeah, that's about it for the interview.